back to winning isn't easy. Knowing your rights and seeking support. So, what are your rights under FMLA and short-term disability? Now, as I've told you before, one, I'm not giving legal advice, and two, I am not an employment attorney, but I'm going to try to give you sort of an overview, if you will, of the waterfront of FMLA and short-term disability benefits. Now, most people are surprised to learn that FMLA and short-term disability are separate benefits. The FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act, provides up to 12 weeks of unpaid job-protected leave for qualifying medical and family reasons, including childbirth and recovery. Short-term disability provides income replacement during that time, and the length of that really depends on the terms of your policy or plan. Now, the two can overlap, clearly. You may be on FMLA unpaid while you're collecting short-term disability. But I will tell you, not every employee qualifies for FMLA, and not every employer offers short-term disability. FMLA, your employer has to have a certain number of employees. You have to have worked for a certain period of time. Again, I'm not an expert in this, but you need to understand that problems can arise. Employers can try to reduce your leave or even deny it outright. You might be pressured to return to work early. You may not, and they may not understand how the FMLA and the short-term disability benefits are coordinating. If you find yourself in those situations, you should be consulting with two lawyers. One is a employment lawyer who can answer your questions about FMLA, and certainly a disability attorney such as myself who can discuss with you your short-term disability benefits, what needs to be done to win a claim, and the interaction between those two. If you have any questions about finding an employment lawyer, I would suggest that you talk to your disability lawyer who can make referrals, or call your county or state bar association, because they can give you recommendations. So what are the common pitfalls that will lead to denials, and how should you avoid these? I will tell you that disability carriers and plans are looking for any reason to deny a claim, particularly those related to pregnancy. So what are some of the common pitfalls? One, missing critical claim deadlines. Two, submitting incomplete or inconsistent medical forms. Three, failing to clearly document your restrictions or complications. Next, delivering before the end of the waiting period or the exclusion period. In other words, if there's a 7-day waiting period and you have the baby in that 7 days, you may not have met the waiting period unless you have complications. Or not attending follow-up medical appointments. You can clearly understand that you need to be working closely with your OBGYN or other care provider to ensure that your medical records are documenting the nature of your problems, the treatment that you have gotten, the lack of response, their recommendations to address the complications, including bed rest or other limitations. And it's really important that your doctor is supporting your claim, because your doctor is going to be asked to complete some forms called attending physician statement forms, APS forms. Those forms generally don't ask the right questions, and I will assure you they don't ask the right questions in pregnancy complication cases. Now, I'm also a Social Security disability attorney, so we Social Security attorneys have created some forms we call residual functional capacity forms. They're much more detailed, and they ask the right questions. And I always use them as a supplement to my ERISA disability cases because they ask the right questions. And we do have some pregnancy-related complication forms that sometimes we can use as an adjunct. For example, we have a diabetes residual functional capacity form that sometimes can be used as a supplement to the APS form that the carrier is asking your doctor to complete, because we want the information and problems to be clear. So you can see here that your physician is a really important partner in getting your disability benefits, and you need to understand their interest and willingness to help you. So you can see that getting help early from both a legal and an insurance expert, and making sure that you and your doctor are on the same page, can prevent costly mistakes. If you find yourself in this situation, you clearly need to understand your rights under the disability policy, the FMLA, and any other applicable state laws. You need to be able to identify any coverage gaps or legal risks. you need to understand the timeframes in which your policy pays benefits. You might have to be dealing with a pre-existing condition issue. You might have a rather long waiting period. Benefits might be limited. So you kind of need to understand that before you begin the process. And obviously, the whole goal here is to build a strong claim or appeal with the right documentation and have an advocate who understands the disability claims process. If you're pregnant and facing obstacles to getting short-term disability benefits, you don't need to go it alone. Whether you're preparing to file a claim, you're dealing with questions about how the short-term disability and the FMLA works together, or you're dealing with a denial, an experienced ERISA disability attorney, and with the assistance of an employment attorney, you can get all those questions answered so you can understand your options and protect your financial security. Knowledge is power, and understanding that policy, documenting your medical needs, and knowing your rights can make all the difference for protecting your income and giving you peace of mind during one of life's significant transitions. If you have any questions, again, you should be writing these questions down and consulting with your HR department, because sometimes they may be able to answer some of these questions. But if at the end of the day you don't get answers you think are right, or you just get a bad feeling about what's going on, you owe it to yourself to make some calls to your state bar association to get a referral to an employment attorney, or to contact a disability attorney such as myself. Got it? All right. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Winning Isn't Easy. If you found this episode helpful, please take a moment to like our page, leave a review, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to this podcast. Join us next week for another insightful discussion and episode of Winning Isn't Easy. Thanks for listening.